Now we'll play the video of Verena, as she's not available online, about the topic sexism, which is pre-recorded.
Through secret filming or photography, when we experience structural sexualized violence, through the unequal treatment of genders, stereotypes of men and women, or gender gaps, analog or digital. We all have our stories, experiences, and we all know how to protect ourselves by attending self-defense courses, by avoiding places, behavior, or company that could be interpreted as an invitation, by reporting and denouncing assaults. And we also know why we often don't do this, why we remain silent, because we are too often silenced by trivialization, victim blaming, secondary victimization, dependencies, hierarchies, and loyalties. And what still keeps us silent, what makes us helpless, overwhelms us, and unsettles us, is what we don't know. How can we react if we experience sexualized violence and sexism from relatives, friends, colleagues, or bosses? When we experience certain tasks and roles being assigned to us because of our sexual orientation, when we experience that we earn less because of our gender, when we experience how people violate our boundaries and therefore us again and again, when we hear sentences like, "Oh, for a woman, you're doing quite well. As a female leader, you can't do that at all. And who looks after your children when you work so much?" We can position ourselves and close the gaps in our counterparts' perception. We all have perception gaps. They lead to misjudgments, misunderstandings, conflicts, and injuries. For example, I've been talking to you for several minutes now, and I know that I'm doing it. And I do this in the way I have prepared myself, through the words I use, the language I choose, and the clarity with which I speak. What I don't know is how that affects you. That is my perception gap. And you also have unconscious gaps in your perception. And people who behave in a sexist, stereotypical, or derogatory way towards us often have them too. People don't always want to hurt us or actually think that women are worth less than men. We usually can't convince those who think this of the opposite anyway. But we can make allies out of the others. Therefore, we can and should close this gap. And that is why we at the Act and Protect Academy have developed the PIW method. PIW is our answer to experiences of sexism by people with whom we want and need to communicate in a constructive and relationship-preserving way. Honest, clear, de-escalating, and factual, without being labeled as being too sensitive, hysterical, or nest soiling. The P stands for perception. This is how we describe to the person who caused the situation to which we are objectively and specifically referring. The I stands for the impact on us. We use it to tell the person who caused the incident what effect their behavior had on us. And we do this subjectively and authentically. And the W stands for the wish that we convey to the person who caused the problem. And we do this subjectively and constructively. Okay, let me give you an example. Women have no place in politics or in leadership. A response to this sexist sentence, according to PIW, could be, "I would like to talk about your statement that women have no place in politics or leadership. This statement has hurt me. It questions my abilities and qualifications as a woman. I would like you to judge me on my abilities and performance without exception, regardless of my gender." Okay, but quite honestly, nobody talks like that. So you can say it in your own words. Mine would be, "Your statement about women is bullshit and completely inappropriate for me. Please don't judge me by my sexual organs in future." Use your words and language so that PIW is a method you can use for yourselves. You can and should practice this so that you can call it up automatically in such situations. And even then, we don't always have the resources to use PIW. Then use other like stand by your inner and outer attitude. No means no, and only yes means yes. Adopt your power pose. Stand firmly, hands on hips, and radiate internally and externally. This far and no further. Use clear and firm language, loudly or quietly. Send the look of death. Looks sometimes say more than words. Claim a change of perspective. How would you feel if I told you that you are not suitable for the job as a man? Or how would you feel if your daughter had to experience this? Use revealing questions. I didn't understand that. Can you explain to me again what you actually mean? Or you just said that? Please repeat that again. Did you really just say that women belong in the kitchen? Where did you get that idea? Confuse the offender or break the situation. A good friend of mine who also works to protect victims and survivors does the following. If she's approached in a bar, by example, and she doesn't want it and has already signaled that, she starts clucking like a chicken. And believe me, she's left alone from then on. This may not be an ideal solution professionally, but it shows get creative. Anything outside of what the person expects helps to break the situation. Clap your hands, open a window, ask what the weather was like yesterday. And you can also demonstratively ignore such situations. And by that, I don't mean that you pretend you didn't hear it. Look at the person in question, turn around and leave the situation or change the subject. You can then respond, ideally within 27 hours in writing or verbally with PIW. Of course, the following always applies. Do not put yourself in danger. Do not attack the person. Do not open up and protect yourself and change. You can always get help. And no matter how, by reacting, we close perception gaps, unmistakable and effectively. We determine the situation, not the situation us. Perhaps we make others think and change, but more importantly, we stand up for ourselves and others against all forms of discrimination. This is how we can and will achieve more together.
Thank you, Verena, for your wonderful presentation. Now we'd like to conclude the
Oh, done.
I don't know.
Okay, I don't. Wait, no.